29th seed at Wimbledon. First Filipino in history. Not first this year. Not first in recent memory. First ever. In more than 100 years of Wimbledon, not one player from the Philippines had ever entered the draw as a seeded player. Not one. And when Manny Pacquiao, the greatest Filipino athlete of all time, heard about it, he went on national television and said he was proud of her. She is only 21 years old. She learned this sport from her grandfather, a man who is no longer here to see any of this. And somehow, this story still feels like it's only the beginning. Because to understand why this moment matters, you have to understand something about the Philippines and tennis. In almost every major sport, Filipinos have had someone to look up to. In basketball, there's an entire culture built around the game. In boxing, there's Manny Pacquiao. But in women's tennis, there was nobody. No Filipino woman had ever cracked the WTA top 100. No Filipino woman had ever become a seeded player in a Grand Slam. There was no blueprint. No path. No older player to call and ask, "What does this stage feel like? How do you survive it? What do you do when it gets hard?" There was nothing. So when a little girl from Quezon City picked up a tennis racket at 4 years old and fell in love with the game, she wasn't following footsteps. She was about to leave the first ones. Her name is Eala. A lot of people outside the Philippines still don't know that name. They're about to. Alex grew up training at a country club in Pasig, but this is not some simple rich kid tennis story because tennis is never that simple. Her first coach was not a former pro, he wasn't a tour veteran, he wasn't a big-name academy coach. He was her grandfather, Roberto Eala, known in the family as Lolo Bob. He was a club player, an amateur, a man who loved tennis and loved his grandchildren even more. Every single day, he showed up with a basket of balls and fed them to young Alex and her brother on the courts in Pasig. Every day. No spotlight. No guarantees. No proof that any of this would become anything. Just a grandfather who believed before the world had any reason to. And then, at 12 years old, Alex won Les Petits As in France, one of the most prestigious junior tournaments in the world. People noticed. The Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain was watching. They offered her a full scholarship to one of the most elite tennis academies on earth. She was 13 years old. Think about that. 13. New country. New language. New culture. No Filipino player before her to explain what this life would feel like. So she packed a bag, left home, and flew to Spain to find out who she really was. And Lolo Bob stayed behind. He passed away in 2019. He never saw Miami. He never saw Berlin. He never saw Wimbledon. He never saw the seeding. But he built the player who would. By 2025, people inside tennis were starting to notice Eala. She was climbing the rankings, winning smaller tournaments, building momentum. Inside the sport, her name was growing. Outside the sport, most people still had no idea. Then came Miami. The 2025 Miami Open. Alex entered as a wild card, which means she didn't come in through the normal route. She was given a chance to enter the draw, and at the time she was ranked around 140 in the world. 140. And the women standing across from her were some of the best players on the planet. Then she stunned everyone. She beat Madison Keys, a top 5 player. And then she walked onto the court against Iga Swiatek, world number 2, multiple-time Grand Slam champion, one of the most dominant players in women's tennis. And Eala, a teenage wild card from the Philippines, beat her too. That was the moment everything changed. In the Philippines, it felt like the entire country stopped to watch. Social media exploded. Sports shows covered her everywhere. She wasn't just a tennis player anymore. She became a symbol. She became proof. She became the answer to a question millions of Filipinos had been carrying for years. Can one of us really compete with the very best in the world? Then came Rome. And Rome was brutal. After Miami, the whole tennis world was watching her. Everyone wanted to know if that run was real or if it was just one magical week. Then Marta Kostyuk blew her off the court. 6-0, 6-1. Alex lost the first 10 games. 10 straight games. On live television. In front of the world. Just weeks after beating one of the biggest names in tennis. And suddenly, every doubter had the same question ready. Was Miami just a fluke? Hear what Alex did next. Nothing dramatic. No meltdown. No excuses. No public promises. No reinvention speech. No blame. She went back to work. Quietly. Methodically. The way Lolo Bob taught her. Stay grounded. Stay coachable. Keep working. Then came the 2026 grass season. She went to Birmingham and won the title, the second professional title of her career. Then she went to Berlin as a wild card. And Berlin was no joke. This was a WTA 500 event filled with elite players, including Elena Rybakina and Elena Svitolina, both Grand Slam champions, both dangerous on grass, both proven at the highest level. Alex beat Rybakina. Then she came back and beat Svitolina too. Back-to-back. On grass. Against champions. At one of the toughest events on the calendar. That is not luck. That is not hype. That is not a cute story. That is a breakthrough. Former world number 4 Greg Rusedski said it himself, beating Rybakina and Svitolina back-to-back was so impressive. He said it was only a matter of time before Alex had her breakthrough. He pointed to her left-handed game, the way grass helps her slice serve, the way the ball moves off her racket. And then he said something even bigger. He said he couldn't wait to watch her at Wimbledon. Let that sink in. A former top player, a man who knows exactly what Wimbledon pressure feels like, publicly saying he can't wait to watch her. But now comes the hardest part. Because Wimbledon is not Birmingham. Wimbledon is not Berlin. Wimbledon is the biggest stage in tennis. This is where the sport gets unforgiving. The draw is full of giants. Aryna Sabalenka. Iga Swiatek. Coco Gauff. The biggest names in the world. Alex Eala enters as the 29th seed. That number is historic. Not just because it gives her protection in the draw. Not just because it reflects how far she's climbed. But because no Filipino player had ever done it before. And it gets bigger. She is also the first player from Southeast Asia to be seeded at a Grand Slam since Tamarine Tanasugarn in 2009. Think about that. An entire region. Hundreds of millions of people. 17 years. And now this young woman from Pasig is the one carrying that banner. That's why the story is bigger than tennis. Because this isn't just about rankings. It's not just about matchups. It's not just about whether she reaches the quarterfinal. It's about what it means when a country that has never seen itself in this space suddenly has someone to believe in. And maybe that's why Manny Pacquiao's words mattered so much. Because when the greatest Filipino athlete ever says, "I'm so proud of her," that is more than praise. That is recognition. That is one icon seeing another one rise. And after Berlin, when Alex was asked what it meant to be seated at Wimbledon for the first time, she said something beautiful. She said that being seated at a slam and at Wimbledon in particular felt close to home. Close to home. Not close to a ranking goal. Not close to a career milestone. Close to home. Because home for Alex Eala is not just a place. Home is a court in Pasig. Home is a grandfather with a basket of tennis balls. Home is discipline. Sacrifice. Tough love. Belief before proof. Her grandfather never made it to Wimbledon. But part of him did. It's in her mentality. It's in her calm. It's in the way she doesn't panic when things go wrong. It's in the way she answers setbacks with work. So when Alex Eala walks into Wimbledon as the 29th seed, history will say it's the first time a Filipino has ever done it. But the truth is, this moment was built years ago on quiet courts in hot afternoons with one man showing up day after day with a basket of balls and a belief no one else could yet see. That is who Alex Eala is. That is why the Philippines is watching. That is why this moment matters. And that is why this story still feels like it's only just beginning. Wimbledon starts, Alex Eala arrives as the 29th seed. First Filipino in history. And maybe, just maybe, not the last.